Let's get together to co-create a breakthrough for freedom of energy, sustenance, healing, and regeneration of the human vessel. Welcome to FESIG, the Free Energy Special Interest Group, where science meets spirituality in the quest for truth and knowledge to free humanity and transform this planet into a paradise.
Hi everyone. Hi, this is Crystal Gore, founder of FESIG. Welcome to the second session of our 99th FESIG meeting. Today is the 6th of April 2022. And we had a very good, very, very informative first session with the one and only Carrie Cassidy of Project Camelot, who had answered a lot of very pressing questions. And so we have come away from the first session a lot more informed. And thank you, Carrie, and Carrie's people for jumping in and spending time with us on this first session. And now we are moving on to the second session. Can I have the PowerPoint presentation up, please, Pontus?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Coming up.
Yeah, I just needed to show the agenda of the meeting so you can relate to what we are doing for our Physics 99th meeting. So welcome to the Free Energy Special Interest Group, which is a platform where science meets spirituality. Next slide, please, Pontus. Yeah. And that our meeting today, as I said, we have two sessions. Usually the first Wednesday of the month, we have a meeting just once a month, and we invite two speakers. Well, it's a platform where science meets spirituality, right? So we do have a combination of speakers, and today is a little different because the first session we have Carrie Cassidy keeping us informed, because information, knowledge is power. It's so important for us to make our life's decisions as we go along in these very, very strange times that we're going through. Very, very strange. And with knowledge, we are not going to be pushed into the fear mode, because knowledge is power, and we are spiritual beings experiencing a human experience down here. And we have many very amazing speakers speaking at FESIG. We're so lucky and blessed and honored with speakers like Jean Decaux, and then we have Patty Brassard, who just spoke and who's with us as well. She spoke with us for 3 hours in a private meeting for FESIG, and do hunt for that video that's just been published on BitChute. Okay, a wonderful gems of information there from Patty Brassard as well, and now Carrie Cassidy, and we just finished with that first session, and now we move on to the second session now with Marsha Brown-Ring, who will lead our tribute to the legendary Ralph Ring, who just passed away on February the 4th, 2022. Ralph was a natural scientist and a creative technician who, in the late 50s and early 60s, worked together with Otis T. Carr, whom everybody knows is the protege of Nikola Tesla, and a team of dedicated scientists on alternative technologies, one of which was teleportation. Ralph works with consciousness, more on consciousness, spiritual science. He was one of the 3 pilots manned this spaceship, the OTC X1 spaceship, and it's had been very, very, very interesting and exciting when he spoke at FESIG's 78th meeting along with Marsha on how the OTC X1 was piloted with consciousness. Well, do go look up this video in our YouTube channel, okay, and you will see the details then and watch it throughout. And then we have a Q&A session and all that. And then after that, then we will adjourn the 99th meeting to the 100th FESIG meeting on the 4th of May, 2022. So that's it. On to the next slide. And if you want to write in. Please go to our website, truevisionofpeace.com/FESIG.html, and join us, subscribe, so you will be receiving our newsletter and reports of all our past meetings, and get the YouTube BitChute and Odyssey channel subscribed as well, so you won't miss a single video that we do. And we do this as a labor of love from our hearts. We do it all for free, and we don't charge anyone. But we have to sustain, as Carrie was explaining very openly, that these things cost money. So we do appreciate it if you would pay forward and give us some donations so we can pay our webmaster, our server hosting, and all that. It costs money, and we have already dedicated all our time and energy and you know, whatever skills that we've got to gift you these videos of a treasure trove of information from some of the world's most brilliant speakers. Right, thank you so much, Montes, for sharing screen for me. I would like to introduce, Rav actually had, as I said, for those of you who didn't know who Ralph Ring is, I would like to say very quickly a short bio. He worked for a US government-funded research facility in the areas of magnetics, levitation, and teleportation, leading to the realities and participations of teleportation and esoteric consciousness, which Marsha is specializing in as well, that they both work very well together. Ralph is a natural scientist and a creative technician who in the late 50s, 60s, worked with Otis Carr, as I mentioned earlier. And he, one of the 3 pilots who had manned the OTC X-1 spaceship. It was his dream since birth is to produce levitating homes, cities, and countries. And he and his spiritual partner and wife, Marsha Brown-Ring, talk on expanding consciousness and natural law, which enables people to see the simplicities of all things, thereby bringing their dreams closer to reality. Marsha Ring, the then Marsha Brown, his colleague and assistant, was accompanying him on his lecture tour since 2005 and became Mrs. Ring as a team from 2007, speaking together on interviews and lectures, enjoying the meeting of people and helping them to remember who and what they were created to be. Ralph said, in our continuing endeavor is to reintroduce a better and safer form of transportation and habitation. Blue Star Enterprise, which is their website, is devoted and dedicated to bringing about a more peaceful, expedient, and affordable way of life through the use of alternative energy. You can find the website Blue Star Enterprise. I think we will put it in chat at some point, right? So Rav, to quote Rav, when he was interviewed by Carrie Cassidy in August 2006, Ralph was one of the first, amazing person that Carrie Cassidy got hold of in as early as 2006 when she first started. A couple of years from then, Ralph was interviewed by her, and Ralph said, "You must always work with Mother Nature. Force is never necessary. The laws of the physical universe are really very simple." So this is, well, I would say Ralph worked with Carr, Otis T, who's the protege of Nikola Tesla, who is the genius of our time and unforgettable Nikola Tesla, who's come up with so many inventions that, the world would be a very different world today if he hadn't been stopped and murdered. And I mean, Tesla, and we would have been having free energy and enjoying everything that it's our birthright to do so, unfortunately. So, okay, so if you would want to bring about, oh, Marsha, can I pass the microphone over to you to say a few words about how the last moments with Rav at the hospital, and I know you spent 6 hours with him. That was so good, and he literally was dying in your arms. And if you would like to tell us about the legacy he left behind and how his work will be continued, because this is a surprise even to you. So over to you now, Marsha. You've been so brave. Yeah, I had to wait for you to be able to be processing all this, and then here you are. You're able to come out in public now to speak with us, and we are so grateful and honored to have you with us. Okay, Marsha.
Thank you so much, Crystal. And I want to thank the Creator for allowing us all to be here today or this evening. And I want to thank the FESIG team that are working with you, Crystal. It's a wonderful thing that you're doing, and I'm so happy to be part of it. And when Ralph and I spoke with you last time, we both thought that the work that you are doing with FESIG is amazing. And we both wanted to be part of that. And thank you so much. I want to show you now a picture of Ralph. This is a more current picture. I love the other ones, but this is more about a 2-year-old picture of him. And he's been right here with me, with us the whole time. And I just want to say that sharing my life with Ralph was an amazing tribute to me, and I was very honored. It was great to hear him come through to people, and basically both of us want everybody to know that we are the masters that we've been looking for. We are them now. And so we need to give ourselves credit for who we are. We are the spiritual beings that were created. We are the light workers, and so we're here at this time for a reason. And I believe that Ralph was very honored to leave right now. I really do. I wanted to tell a little story here. One of our friends that lived in Prescott Valley for quite a while went back to visit just about a month before Ralph passed. And about a couple of weeks after he passed, she called me and she said she went to a psychic reader, and that reader said somebody with the initial R is trying to get in touch with you. And she says, I can't think of anybody. And then she says, oh, it must be Ralph Ring. And the reader said, all I know is he's saying Carr. And she says, well, I got a new car. So he must be congratulating me on that. When she told me that, I got goosebumps all over. I feel like Ralph is with Carr and helping on the other side. And that's what I had such an inner feeling like that. Anyway, if he's not with Carr, because Carr's been gone quite a few years now, if he's not with Carr, I know he's still helping us on the other side. And so I don't know what else to say except that this man was amazing. When he would give a conference, people would actually cry at the end of it, and because it came from his heart and touched people with his heart and to their heart. It was wonderful to see. And there were so many times that I never spoke in the public. I'm an ordained minister, but I always had my notes. I always had notes. Well, the first time Ralph came out in, not with Carrie Cassidy, but the first time that he spoke at a conference in Laughlin, I had prepared like, I don't know, 5 or 6 pages of his story so he wouldn't lose place. And I don't, if any of you were there, I think Jeanette, you were there. I know there were some of you people there at that time. And he said, I don't know where I'm at. My wife made these, and I wasn't his wife at that time. I was with his wife, but my wife made all of these notes and I'm lost. And at that point, I knew I was in corporate and I thought everybody needed an outline of whatever they're doing. Not Ralph, because he spoke from his heart, from the reality of who he was. So I learned really quick, let him be who he is and don't try to make him something different. And I really did a good job on that. And so anyway, I was with him. We came down, both of us sick. We thought we had the flu, and that's what I think we had. We came down with that, I think, on January 21st. We stayed at home. Neither one of us wanted to go to the hospital. I wasn't as sick as Ralph. On the day after we knew we were sick, I had ivermectin in the house, and we both took ivermectin the next day. And I just felt like we're safe now. We're okay. But Ralph was chest COPD. He had had it for quite a few years, and he had been put on oxygen at night. And I believe that his lungs just couldn't make it through. And that's what the doctor said too. He's in the hospital fighting for 12 days. And I feel sad about that because that was hard for him. And I was allowed to go, and they put him in the COVID section in the hospital, so I couldn't go visit him. And finally, I begged the doctor. I said, I have to see him. And they said, okay. And they got me in that on a Wednesday night, and I stayed with him. Well, when I walked into the hospital, he was totally conscious and alert. And while I've talked to him every day, or maybe 2 or 3, whenever I could talk to him, because he had this forced oxygen in his lungs. That's what was keeping him alive. So he said, he gave me his wedding band and his Templar ring. And he said, I want you to have these. And I said, but you're going to hospice tomorrow. And he says, no, I'm leaving tonight. I mean, really strong. He was totally conscious, but he did leave that night. It was about 5 hours. The nurses were very good to me. They asked me how long I was going to stay. I said, as long as you'll let me stay, I need to be here. So I'm thankful for that part. It's very hard. It's very hard to even relate that right now to you, but maybe other people can tell what a wonderful person he was, and how he was trying his best to bring consciousness, raise our consciousness, wake people up, wake the sheeple up. And the last 2 months before he passed, he said, I don't want to hear anything about the news, even YouTube's, nothing. He said, it's just too much. I don't want to be here anymore. And I'd say, don't say that. But I really feel like he can do better where he's at now on the other side. And I know he is, and I know he's still alive, and I will all see him because we'll all be there together someday. Thank you.
Thank you, Marsha.
Thank you for
it's
all
so
being here.
touching. Yeah, thank you so much. I would like Pontus, if you would share screen on the tribute picture. Yeah, while I say this, okay. Marsha and Rav, they are so epitomizing the twin flame love, the two of them, so loving. I've never come across such a loving, close couple who speak together publicly like that, reminding us of the love in our hearts. That is the most awesomely powerful weapon love is in our hearts and consciousness. And with that, you can actually pilot a spacecraft. It is so amazing. Yeah, it really touched my heart. So, and if you look back in the video that we did with Rife and Marsha, you can see how entwined the twin flame energies are, the two of them. So I couldn't bring myself to have the heart to actually as soon as Marsha let us know very kindly and lovingly, letting the FESIG group know of Ralph's passing, I just couldn't bring myself to call her and ask to come and say a few words. I just need her to have some time by herself on her own to process Ralph's passing, because I know how painful it is and how broken the heart must be to have a twin flame leave us, when he actually did say to Marsha that they would love to go together, didn't he, Marsha? Yeah. So yeah, with this graphic there, you see on the screen that I have designed like a memorial service to a tribute to
So
Ralph.
beautiful.
I would have everyone pay their tribute to Ralph in a moment, starting from Marsha will lead the tribute, and then we will have the family members who are honoring us with their presence along with Marsha in this session as well. We are so honored to have you all here, and I feel Ralph's presence as well, because the family is here with us. And so I would like to say of this tribute, this service, that it is with a heavy heart that doing the oral service from FESIG platform, a tribute to our beloved physics speaker, Ralph Ring, who passed away on Friday, the 4th February 22nd, Friday, the 4th of February, year 2022 at 12:35 a.m. His beautiful Marsha Brown-Ring was able to be at his hospital bedside for 6 hours before his passing, as she was sharing with us those last moments with Ralph. And Ralph, as I said before, his bio, I wouldn't want to repeat that again. It's been said. So he actually did help Otis Carr come up with the flying saucer, to build the flying saucer, powered by rotating electromagnets in conjunction with a number of small ingenious capacitor-like devices called neutrons. And this is really truly free energy powered, inspired by Tesla and Otis Carr being Tesla, Nikola Tesla's protege. And this was in the 50s, that could instantly teleport anywhere in the universe. And Ralph flew this vehicle successfully. But unfortunately, it was confiscated by the US Army at gunpoint and is now stored at an AF base in full secrecy. Where Ralph, in a private conversation with me and Marsha, did say someday he's going to take it out, and it won't be long now. And we all go for a ride. Wasn't that exciting? But he's not to stay till then, unfortunately. And Ralph said, when I have completed my mission here, I will remember where I park my spaceship and take Marsha and go find another project. Earth 101 is kind of all consuming, he said, didn't he, Marsha?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
And several of Ralph Ring's oft repeated phrases on energy passed down philosophically from Tesla to Carr to Ralph. We are living in a sea of energy, he said, free and abundant energy forever for all mankind. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. Well.
And he truly knew that. He knew that.
Yeah.
And I believe the people that are still working in the pods around the world are, I know that it's going to happen. I know it's going to come back. The thing that and I know Ben Hallett's here with us, but the thing that I feel like is we have to come from our heart, to the essence, to the vibration, to be able to create anything like that. We have to become one with it, like we are all one already, but we have to go into more oneness with the source, with the creation, with the materials. Even we have to become one. Exactly. And that's what Ralph had so many times said, And I know that's the truth. And I know that we have to come from a heart space.
Yeah.
We have to feel everything. And I know Carrie just talked about that too, but if you go into your heart, you can feel the truth in people. If they're telling the truth, that they're living the truth, you can know that in yourself, because we are those creative spiritual beings. We are these ones that we've been waiting for.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And I feel it in my heart as well. I feel it in my heart every time I speak to you and Ralph on our private conversation, I mean, for hours, and I resonate with you from my heart. I've never felt it so deeply. The two of you are really epitomizing the love, the true love that it is such a good example for all of us to be in touch with. And it's so endearing. Thank you so much for the opportunity of knowing you, Ralph and Marsha. Right, so I want to say this silently, one by one, in the infinite meadows of heaven, blossomed the lovely stars, the forget-me-nots of the angels, by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, as a tribute to Ralph. Thank you. Can we call upon Marsha? Pontus, if you could share screen again on that tribute picture, if you would like to say some words to Ralph, and then followed by the family members.
Yes, thank you. I was very, what's it called? It was very nice to speak to Ralph and him share all his knowledge with us in the meetings, and he will be with us, and we will see him soon again.
In spirit, yes, Pontus, thank you.
Thank you.
Pontus, can we share screen again, or was it Fres who shared screen on the memorial graphic?
Oh,
and
it was me.
We got one by one, yeah.
Just
and one by one, we will say a few words to Ralph. And we started off with Marsha saying some tribute words to Ralph directly. Go on then, Marsha.
Did you want me to speak again?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we
sorry.
want you to start the tribute to pay a tribute to Ralph. And
okay,
then
I just want everybody to remember that the death is just the human thing, that life goes on, and that's what we truly believe. Ralph and I both truly believe that, and there's many of us that know that, and so just know that, and thank you for being happy. For I had such I was happy that he was able to leave here, but so sad that he left me behind.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I know that life goes on, and I know that this time in our life, this time in this world, is a movie. Like somebody just posted here, it's a movie. It's a page, and we'll turn that page, and we'll be done with it, and we'll be in that space that we've been promised to, by God and by who we are. And so I shared all of these things with Ralph. We met in 1980, and we considered ourselves spiritual brother. He was my spiritual brother, and I was his spiritual sister. So I performed his marriage with his previous wife, and I was just close with all of them. But I never thought I would be walking and being with him on a personal level, but I knew that we were walking in a spiritual path together. So I know that he's touched all of you, and thank you for being here again. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Marsha. May I call upon Ralph's daughter, Sherry Ring, to say your tribute to your father?
She may have had to leave. I'm not sure. I know she's working, And she was, yeah, I'm not sure if she's still here or not.
Marsha, would you do the honors? Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm really too emotional right now to talk. I just really don't want to talk right now.
Thank you, Cherie.
I'm sorry.
It's
Sorry,
okay.
Cherie.
It's okay.
Oh,
I miss him so much. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to get off here now.
oh, Cherie, you know that he's with you in spirit and he's loving you.
Yes.
And we are here with you, Cherie. Right. Marsha, who's next, Marsha?
I don't know if Brooklyn would like to speak. Brooklyn is Cherie's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn, are you wanting to speak? I too
Brooklyn
can't
said
stop
to
crying.
Stop crying and not able to talk right now. Oh, Brooklyn.
Thank you for being.
Yeah, we have our arms around you, Brooklyn.
And then we have Monica Lamb. Monica is married to one of Ralph's son's son.
Right.
Ralph had a daughter, Cherie, and a son, Chris. Both Cherie and Chris Ring. And Monica is like an adopted granddaughter, but she's been very close to us for lots of years now.
Oh,
and so Monica, I know Monica wants to speak, don't you?
Monica.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we love you too, Brooklyn.
Is she muted? Is Monica muted?
We got to unmute Monica. Jonathan, can you unmute Monica? Oh.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to share this picture. It was a picture of when my family and kids got to visit Ralph and Marsha in Paradise just a few short weeks before the fire in Paradise. And so I'm grateful they were able to escape that. And I've became close with Ralph and Marsha about, I guess, almost over 10 years now. And there was a lot of initial skepticism from different parts of the family about Ralph's work, and I got heavily involved in it because it just resonated with me, and I just felt instantly bonded with Ralph and Marsha and the work that Ralph has done and shared with the world regarding everything. And I too have also had personal experiences with the men in black, so to speak, that have tried to shut down Ralph's work. And I just want everyone to know that even though a lot of information was lost in the Paradise Fire, that no one should be feeling disheartened, because the truth will always come out. The truth is observable. And that's one thing that I think Ralph really emphasized when people would get frustrated and they wanted to know the mechanics of everything he was sharing. And when he kept telling them just to open your heart and just stay open to the universe, the truth will always come to you. And that's one thing I really appreciated getting to be a part of Ralph and Marsha's family and learning that from them, because it's so easy to get bogged down with everything in the world. And that's how we were prevented from feeling that unity with each other. And I just wanted to say I appreciate you guys putting this together for him, and he will definitely be missed. And thank you.
Very much missed.
Thank
And
you.
We're so honored and blessed to have family members paying tribute to him here in our platform. Really am grateful. Right. Is there any other family members? Marsha?
I don't think anybody else is here right now. I feel like, well, I don't know if Ben wants to talk. Ben Hallett is like a family to us, but I'm not sure that he wants to talk or not. But I know he's here, and I want to say thank you, Ben, for always all your support through all the years. And Babette Tony, we've been part of Babette's life for Ralph and I we lived when we lived in Paradise, and we met Babette and her husband, her recent husband, Ben Tony, and she's here, and Jeanette and Jeanette's here. Jeanette's with the dowsing community in Reading, and I believe that Jeanette and G were at Ralph's first conference in Laughlin when he first spoke to the public. Is that right, Jeanette? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And she's also muted, I believe. So, and I think Cheryl Scott maybe has left, but she and her partner, Bill O'Hare, were definitely part of our life and bringing us out and speaking and having different conferences and stuff. And I think that's where we really, now I don't know, I think we met Fernando in the BIM conference, I think.
Yes, I think
that was yes, and then I believe he was up at Cheryl Scott's house talking too, that we spent time with them. So thank you all for being here, and for waiting all of this time to share in this tribute to Ralph. I know it means a lot to him, and I know he's watching us.
I know, yeah. I would like to ask Fresel, the FESIG team now, starting from Fres, because Pontus did say some few words as a tribute to Fres.
Yes.
Too many buttons to press. Okay, mine's very short, and basically it was the impression that Ralph gave to FESIG on his meeting with us. And he wanted to make certain that we realize that it's important to investigate our material world, the science, the devices of the outer world, but it's also is important the workings of our inner spiritual self.
Yes.
That you can't, they go hand in hand, and you've got to get into that inner self also. And with that, I turn the floor over to the next person.
Right. James is not here, James Ring. What about Ron Yao? Will Dodd, can you get ready, please, with your tribute? Just unmute yourself and speak up, please, the FESIG team. Yeah. Henrik, Scott, Excel, Alex, John. If Adam's not here, just unmute yourself, the FESIG team, and pay a tribute, please. No?
Are you talking to me?
Who is
I'm
that?
a John.
John. Oh, hi, John. Yeah, please.
Hi.
Did you put your hand up? You want to say a tribute to Ralph, right?
Well, yeah, I did invisibly. I was very fortunate to see Ralph and Marsha speak at Cheryl Scott's Volcano.
Yes.
And I had a front row seat. I was actually on the carpet. And I think my impression is shared with a lot of people about Ralph being so down to earth and folksy, and yet at the same time very I don't know, woo or down the rabbit hole, and very, very enjoyable to watch.
Yes, indeed.
So that's basically my impression.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. What about Cheryl Scott? Cheryl Scott, you want to say a few things, a few words?
Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Thank you. I couldn't unmute myself.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I had the privilege of meeting both Ralph and Marsha probably 12 years ago. And we had first learned about Ralph and Marsha from Carrie Cassidy's interviews. And when I had learned that, whoops, I'm sorry. When I had learned, can you see me still?
Yes, we can
Yes.
see you. We can hear you.
I just got a phone call and now I can't see you, but that doesn't matter if I can't see you. But we had learned that Ralph and Marsha were going to be at a conference in Sacramento. And we went to that conference just so that we could meet them. And I just felt like I was meeting my mother and my father.
I felt the same.
Yes, they're just so heart-centered. And
Yeah.
we're so blessed to be able to only live maybe 3 hours away from them. And so we were able to have them here at our Ubuntu Center a few times. And it was a very homey kind of environment. And many people from all over Northern California and other places came to be able to learn and listen. And what I just treasured was that they truly share from their heart. And I remember I was just reflecting upon one time that my sweetheart and I and some friends went up to visit Ralph and Marsha, and they took us on a lovely walk at a park near their home. And they love to be in God's creation, and they always brought honor to God. And Ralph would share with us about how as a boy, he loved paradise because that's where he had spent some time as a boy. And he had a very amazing life, just a truly amazing life. I wish we had time to share more on that. But he would just see a bee, and he would then explain the dynamics of how bees operate, and he learned this as a boy when he would be walking back and forth from school. And he just had that unusual ability, I feel, to be able to turn complicated theorems and scientific methods into the simplicity. And that's what he was able to do basically when he got that job at this place, governmental place, I think it was, down in the 1950s. And they hired him to solve problems, and he solved the problems so fast. And then when they said, no, we didn't want you to make solutions. We hired you to work on these things. But if we found out the solutions, then they wouldn't get the government funding. So that's when he became disgruntled and ended up being able to work with Otis T. Carr and his friends. And again, I just think that was a tribute to the type of honor that and the ethics that Ralph operated from. And I just want to pay tribute to Marsha because she is like my mom. And thank you so much for always standing by for, I know, over 30 some years. You were like the right-hand person of Ralph. So thank you so much.
I just want to thank Cheryl Scott, took us in after the fire and bought us clothes. We had nothing. We had no clothes, nothing. And she took Ralph and I and our service dog Tate in and kept us for 2-3 months. I don't know. But thank you. Cheryl's been a family. She's been a spiritual partner for both of us for many years now. Thank you so much, Cheryl.
Beautiful memories. Right. I would like to ask Mike Emery, who's a very dear close friend of Ralph's. It was Mike who introduced Ralph and Marsha to me. Mike Emery, would you like to pay your respects and your tribute to Ralph? Mike, can you unmute yourself? Or Jonathan, can you unmute the mic?
I'm done. Yeah, Hattie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, congratulations to Ralph. He succeeded. You know, The man is a master. He knew that he was going to die and he planned it. And he even refused technologies that would have helped him. They were right there in his house. And yeah, Ralph and I were, well, kind of close. I saved his life once, but that was more of a movie thing. His heart was failing, and he was on a drive back from Laughlin all the way up to Paradise, and we intercepted him on the road. And then I forget where it was. It's not Barstow, but right where he's going to turn north to go up the Sierras to Paradise. We got him to go to San Diego, south of San Diego, Carlsbad, and a friend of mine lived there, Sai Baba friend, and Chris Abdullah, and Ralph and Marsha went there, and they stayed with Chris and another friend of hers, and then a business guy that I was working with, paid for hotel rooms and things like that, at the time. And Ralph got entirely healed his heart from stem cells from Dr. Todd Okavides. Yes. And I knew, the minute that he said what his problem was, what the instantaneous solution was, and it was. It turned out to be the case. And then Ralph got all excited and went on, I don't know how many month trip to Ecuador shortly thereafter, went down, visited our old friend, Patrick Flanagan. But the other thing that happened for Marsha was that the white powder of gold, or vibhuti, that Chris Abdullah has manifesting all around her house in different colors, was used to take care of Marsha's cancer, which she apparently had at the time. That's not the medical diagnosis. It was a spiritual diagnosis, but I think, Marsha, you came away feeling a lot better.
Yes,
and
I did.
Ralph very definitely did. And he was able to, enjoy a great quality of life for, quite a while longer. I don't know how many years ago that was when we did that. Quite a while ago.
It was quite a long time. Yeah. Yeah, he was actually with Dr. Todd's stem cell treatment. He was tested by the doctors in Paradise that he was okay. When he went to Ecuador, he didn't take any of the medicine with him. So I'm thinking that maybe, he should have continued on that, but whatever. It was he chose to go. So
Wow. It's his
okay.
time.
Yes.
Yeah, he absolutely chose to go. He was tired of something. I don't know why. Because he had the technologies right there in your house that he could have fixed them. But he didn't do it. And so that's his choice. And so the way I look at it, is that freedom is getting away from us idiots. And that's what Ralph decided to do. Now, and then Ralph and Otis proved to all of us that there ain't no there. There does not exist. Ralph hasn't gone anywhere. Okay. He exists in our minds, and that's it. He exists if he wants us to. Now, in the beginning, when he checked out, he didn't want, and what I told to Marsha and everybody, we take down all these pictures, we don't mention his name, because every time you mention somebody's name that's in spirit, it brings them back. Okay. And he didn't want to come back. That's what he said when he left. Okay. But now that's changed. And Marsha, you probably feel him around quite a bit nowadays. You set up your Merlin's chamber there at your house, which you have everything you need to do that. You can visit him regularly if you wish. And he wishes, of course. But so there is no there. Ralph and Otis proved that to us. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's still here. And the greatest tribute we can give to Ralph is to replicate the Tesla Utron, which we're all ready to do for you, Marsha, at the Hogwarts. Any of the Hogwarts that you wish to go to, Tahoe, Caribbean, you know, is what I've heard you suggest that you'd like to go to one of them. Fine. You know, you can go wherever you like. Total freedom. That's what Bubble Tech is all about. Not only individual freedom, but total freedom for everybody on the planet.
Thank you, Mike. So Ralph has left a legacy behind, and now that he's gone to a higher plane. So how, Marsha, is his legacy that he's left behind is going to be continued? And who is taking charge and who's moving it forward?
There are workers in the universe here that are still working on creating Otis Carr's spaceship. Actually, and I really can't even mention names or anything like that.
No, I don't expect you to, but
it is, the work
is
still here, and people are still interested, and it's gone beyond what Ralph shared. They've even gone deeper and expanded more on how to bring it back. But I think more than that is that we need to remember that oneness, that heart space, that's what's going to bring everything back to us. And I feel like all of us are here at this time for a reason. We volunteered to be here, I believe, and we're not done yet, or we wouldn't still be here. I remember when we just got through the fire. We actually drove through flames coming up underneath the car, and we actually drove through. And I said to him, I think God's not done with us yet. And I really feel like when we've done what we've said, what we agreed to do, we will leave. And I really am sorry that Ralph had to go to the hospital and have the pressure of the oxygen forcing him to breathe. But other than that, I feel happy that he's out of this experience right now. I know he's still around. And I feel him quite. If I start to do something that isn't what he would approve of, that's when I hear him. No, Marsha, you don't want to do that. And so I back off, and those are the kinds of things that are coming on and now.
Oh, and, that's sweet. Right. So Jonathan, would you click to share screen the Blue Star Enterprise website of Ralph? Is that website continuing with his work, Marsha? Jonathan,
it is. We still do have the bluestarenterprise.com. It's still up and running. I'm not sure exactly what if it's a need. I haven't made a decision whether it's going to continue or not. I haven't been guided, and that's what I'm waiting for, guidance. I believe it's got a life of its own, but I just, we would have to have funding probably to keep it going, but it will be here at least until around June or July, and then I'm accepting that if I need to keep it running, I will. I know I will.
Right, Jonathan, if you could scroll down so people could see the flying saucer that Otis T and Ralph has come up with. Yeah, there you go.
Interesting.
That's the OTC.
All of his papers and all of his notebooks, all of that were burned in the fire. This is Walter. Walter Noestad was just on the call earlier, and he sent some papers that he had copied out of Ralph's notebooks, and he sent those to Ralph. And then Ralph was able to get some. He always made discs of his talks, and he had always given those out to people. And so some people have sent those back, and we have quite a few of them. I have quite a few of the ones that were sent back to him, and he made other copies, but that's not my thing. I'm not going to probably make more copies, but those he always gave almost every conference that he ever spoke at. he got the disc from them and made copies of them. I believe that all of them are on the Blue Star Enterprise. I think he gave all of those to the webmaster, and I believe that they were put on the Blue Star Enterprise.
So Walter was with us just now earlier. He's not here anymore. Oh, so sorry. We missed him on the tribute to Ralph. Oh, is he still here? Oh.
Walter Noahstad? I don't know. I think he's gone.
He's gone. Okay. Sorry to have kept him waiting for so long.
I don't see him anymore either.
Yeah,
I
oh
don't
dear.
think he's here.
So who's next? Who wants to say anything to Ralph here? Now is your chance because we'll be closing soon.
There's a raised hand by Jeanette and Dan Ferrando.
Dan Ferrando, go
And
on
Babette.
then, Dan.
Babette
Yes.
also.
Thank you, Jonathan, for unmuting Dan.
Oh, everyone can unmute themselves. Don't
Yes.
abuse it because we still have some attacks sometimes. So,
Go on then,
but
Dan.
you're free now. You're free to
All
unmute.
right. Well, just it's
Hi,
wonderful to good to see you, Marsha. Love you.
Thank you, Dan. Love
Yeah.
you too.
Yeah. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'm emotional too. But I want to speak. So
Dan, it's beautiful. It's okay. Thank you.
I know. And my tears are out of love. The love. Okay. The love that I received from you and Ralph was awesome. So awesome to spend time with you and Ralph and okay, let me get the control here. But what a beautiful story. I started getting involved with alternative energy and many years ago, and in my garage for thousands of hours, spent hours and hours, and I started getting on YouTube and looking at Ralph and Marsha sharing with Carrie Cassidy years ago, and looking at Nikola Tesla, and when I learned about Ralph with his consciousness, and I always thought that I could that I was from somewhere else, that I was more powerful, that we all are more powerful than we believe, and I just related so much to you guys, and then I it's like I knew you guys, Marsha and Ralph, and all of a sudden I went up to Oroville, which is next to Paradise where you guys lived. I didn't know where you lived, and I met a woman, and she said that I know a guy that knew Nikola Tesla, and that was Donald Tony, and Babette's here too, and
yes,
and I met Becky Gill, and she shared with me, she said, oh, I know a guy who knew Nikola Tesla. And I said, I need to meet him because I was working on a device. So she talked to him and said, yeah, I'll mention to him. He doesn't get on the internet or anything, and I'll share what you're doing and see if we can start a meeting. So shared the meeting and shared what I was doing, and he said, yeah, I'll have a meeting. So I met up with Donald Tony, and Donald Tony said, after our hour and 45-minute meeting, I said, can I get back to you and ask any questions? And he said, no, go to source. Go to source. Source will teach you. Go within, because you need to learn how to do this yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to truly do it. And it goes all back to consciousness and what Ralph was saying, and all these things related. And then Donald Tony says, no, go to source. So for 2 days, I said, I said, you know what? It's like I just met my girlfriend. My first true love was Donald Tony. And he said, go to Source. And I can't ask him any questions, but he said, go to Source and follow your desire. And anyway, it turns out that I got back to Don Tony, and Don Tony said that I can join his classes. And that was in Oroville, California. And I arrived to the class, and I was the last one of the last people, along with you and Ralph, that joined Don Tony's class. And I arrived there, and Ralph Ring and Marsha are sitting there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so blessed. All this stuff happens for a reason. And Sherry, Monica, Brooklyn, you know, you had such a special man in your life, and he's still with you. He's still with me. And the tears I have are because of the love that I have for this man and for you, Marsha. You guys are so special, and he's still with us. Always with us.
Yes, I know he is. Yes.
So
yes, he
I
is.
love you all.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. You said it for me as well. The most loving couple we could have met in our lifetime. Yeah, it's Marsha and Ralph. Yeah, thank you so much. Really touched my heart. Thank you, Dan. Oh, well, we've got 3 raised hands. We got Jeanette, Babette, and who's the other one? The third one. It's gone. Couldn't wait.
I haven't learned how to raise my hand yet. It's somewhere. I'm a tech guy, no interface.
Oh, Fernando. Yeah, you wanted to say some words. Yeah, go on then, Fernando.
Let's remote view right now. A magic time back in 2012, a decade ago. As many of us were opening up that realm of free energy thinking. And during that time, I had met many giants like Professor John Searle and worked with that team at Searle Magnetics and interfaced with Marco Rodin and Vortex Mathematics, interfaced with Basaggio, Andrew Basaggio and Time Travel in the Jump Room program, and Michael Tellinger and all those names. And then several days in a row, Ralph Ring and Marsha Ring came into my radar. Carrie Cassidy's program was one of the first with Project Camelot Radio. And later I was to have the privilege to have Ralph and Marsha in the audience in Holland, given a presentation called The Art and Science of Conscious Creation. And what I had gathered and mustered up the courage through Ralph's energy and Marsha's is to put love and compassion and consciousness at the very front.
First.
And to know that a human being had touched UFO kind of technology, worked with Tesla and visionaries like Otis Carr, the proteges of the century, and I would say of the millennia. And when Ralph describes a craft that has no inertia, that one can interact with a crystal control panel with thought of color. And each thing I'm saying is part of this realm I'm sharing, how all these dots start connecting. To know that we can design solutions here on earth that come from heaven, not necessarily standard physics and science. And to finally meet Ralph and Marsha in person after we've been on several interviews together, and Ralph saying to me and Marsha, we are here because of you. We come here to see your talk. That to me is one of those opening moments of my heart that I am arrived. My family from the cosmos is here with me, because I always think, and Ralph and Marsha reminded me at that time back in 2012, that this is not going to fall on deaf ears. I thought my talk back then 10 years ago was just, who cares? It's not a free energy device. Show me if you can light a light bulb. was the attitude back then of free energy. How many watts are you getting? This is what these, and then these beings like Ralph and Marsha saying, we are here as emissaries from the cosmos. We came here with a different message to guide consciousness in free energy. And I want to share with you, Marsha, that my partner and I, Akuda Melchizedek, have recently presented, have completely repositioned the dimension of free energy. We call it energy in freedom, consciousness in freedom. And right now I want to extend this dedication of this vocabulary to you and to Ralph for showing us how to free up our heart, to approach this with liberation of the planet, not technology, not machines, and see how Ralph describes energy as our friends, as us, as our body. We heard this light. And Ralph, I know you're tuning in right now, so thank you for letting me share this. And to Sherry and Monica, who are listening, you have a home in all of the light tribes right now who are rebirthing the entire field from the ground up. It doesn't matter what might have been taken away. We've all have had those attacks. It doesn't matter what notes we have lost, what technology they stole. Doesn't matter what AI, because our mind is free. Our genetics are free. We have genetics in freedom. We have creation in freedom. And completely are reestablishing a whole new platform of humans on Earth right now to bring the ascension thinking, consciousness of brand new kinds of physics of the heart. We write in light language. We don't write in mathematical formulas. Our expressions, because of the work that you brought to this world, has the symbols for the heart. We have symbols for compassion. We have calculations for human intention in our work, because we fly light ships, and we have modules in our work called how to build your own light ship and how to navigate it with your heart. So thank you for letting me share this.
Thank you so
complete
much,
energy.
Fernando.
Thank you, Fernando. Thank you so much.
Fernando is very supportive of FESIG. When my laptop goes down, he bought me a new one so I can continue with the work. Thank you, Fernando, bro.
I want to share Mike's sentiment. Congratulations, Ralph, on your ascension. We celebrate your light ship. We're watching it.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Fernando. I think we have 4 hands up. Wow. Oh, and Oppo has written something about coming to stay with you for 6 months. Oppo, you want to say something before I go to the hands up people? Go on then, Oppo. A quick one. Just a quick one. Unmute yourself.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Go on then, Oppo.
Yes. I guess, oh, sorry, Oppo is a confusion. It's my telephone. My name is actually Michael Miller. So just want to chime in and say what a pleasure it was to meet Ralph and Marsha. I called them up out of the blue back in 2013 after I'd seen the Carrie Cassidy interview. Immediately felt a connection with them. And they very graciously invited me up to their home in paradise and got to know them over the next 6 springs and summers, spent some time there with them and just had so many wonderful experiences. And what a pleasure it was to know such an enlightened being and such a beautiful man. And thank you too, Marsha, for all you've shared. And just a real pleasure. Yeah, real pleasure to get to know you. And I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you,
very
Michael.
much.
Oh, that's
Thank you.
nice, short and sweet. We have Babette and Jeanette as well, and 1+ note. So which one, whoever unmute yourself successfully, speaks first, please.
Oh, Ralph and Marsha are such dear, wonderful friends of mine and my late husband, Donald and Tony. And we shared many great meals and conversations together at our homes and theirs, and at our favorite restaurant too. Ralph and Marsha are both such wise and loving beings, so full of love and inspirations, always coming from their hearts. They knew and know to listen within to source, to the divinity within to guide us in everything. I'm so grateful to have known him and to know Marsha and share with her very dear friend, a very special being. Thank you, Marsha.
And thank you, Babette. And it's been, Babette just lost Tony. I mean, he went to the other side, and I'm sure they're working together there. But we have some understanding of what of the human loss, and not to take away from the place that they're at, because I think it's a wonderful, I'm so glad there's such a dichotomy of being happy and being sad. You know, the sadness is the human part of me, and the spiritual part of me is knowing that they're gone on, and they're helping us right now from the higher space, from another space. I don't know if it's higher or not. Anyway, thank you, Babette.
Oh, thank you. Next will be Jeanette.
Thank you. I'm so delighted you are doing this. Thank you so much. And I have this heart here because Ralph was so big with love, and you too, Marsha. And I love you. I love you. I love you. And we know Ralph and Marsha from way back when Bob Brown and the late Colonel Wendell Stevens started the IUFOC conference. And as soon as the three of you were there at the conference and Ralph was speaking, Ralph was talking about growing up in paradise and how he learned so much from nature, the ants.
Yes.
And we were staying and he thought he would have fun with the ants, but the ants were the true beings.
Teacher.
Yes. And I had to know more. It was like I was a magnet and I needed to connect with you more. And we were staying at our hotel rooms were on the same level, and we were only a couple doors around, and Ralph told me I can do it too. And it was connection to source. And I was just amazed. And I felt that love of all three of you, frankly, all three of you. And I'm so happy that we are neighbors, because back then you were living in paradise and we're here in Shasta County and we have similar interests. And I want to thank you for the many years you've spoken for the Dowsers, the NorCal Dowser community.
Thank you.
And all those wonderful DVDs. And if you need more DVDs, I'll look through the catacombs and we can make sure they're downloaded, on the internet at your website, whatever is necessary. And let us know if you need some for your website too, please. Something else thank you. Something that is remarkable about both of you is that through all the triumphs of getting this information, all the information out, whether it was the OTC one or whether it was the big fire, or people coming into your house and destroying things with the motorcycles and many other adventures, both of you have always kept an upbeat attitude and you're laughing about it. And even
they were all challenges, but it brought us to be where we are now. I mean, yeah, we've had some funny things happen to us. Yeah. But they're beautiful. Yeah.
And how Sai Baba is actually guiding you and Ralph out of the fires, and the fire's right there. You can't even see through the whole paradise fire.
Yeah. And it took us 5 hours to go like a 20-minute drive. Yeah, it was pretty traumatic. But we just knew that God wasn't through with us yet. And there was, like Cheryl Scott just took us in, and Monica found us a motel when everything was filled up. I mean, people just helped us, but God was doing it all. And it's so amazing. It's, those things, we had a beautiful, after the fire, we built our house. We bought a house in Green Valley, and we did it together. Before that, Ralph had his house and I had my house in Prescott Valley, and we couldn't merge them because we already had enough stuff. So we lost all the stuff and we built our own. And it's a sweet story, really, even though it was traumatic at the time, you know. And I think the worst thing about the fire is losing all of his papers from Otis. I mean, just not maybe 6 months before the fire, we had received actual handwritten letters from Otis. We had received boxes from people that it was Dr. Wayne Aho's wife had all of these things, and it was gifted to us. So Ralph had different stacks of papers ready to mail, and those were on his desk, and they just went right up in flames because by the time we left, the hot cinders were right in our front yard. I mean, we just had to leave, or So anyway, those are the kinds of things that, and I don't know who, I think it was Fernando or somebody said they can't be lost. Maybe it was you, Monica. Somebody said, and those things can't be really lost. They're, if they need to be seen, there's going to be some way that they're found. I know Dr. Michael Sala was asked if he wanted all of those papers, and he said no, they belong to Ralph Ring. And so we received quite a few of them, but by the time we picked them up, we were sure that there was more, because a lady that had them said, you need a pickup truck to bring all this back. Well, we went in our car and there were like 3 or 4 shopping bags full. I mean, it was nothing compared to what she had said. So I think some of that material is still around somewhere. If it needs to shine or come back, it will. And I know that. And Ralph knew that too. So thank you, Jeanette. This is wonderful. Yeah.
Hey, Marsha, that knowledge.
Memories.
If I can just share one other thing, Marsha,
Yes.
a lot of the Dowsers are sending their love to you and the
Thank
whole
you.
and all of the Ring family. They send all
Yes.
their love, and some of them were on earlier and some of them couldn't make it, but their spirit, and you just really brought the Dowser community up a level, and we love you all. And as Rob would say, I love you, I love you, I love you. And we love you.
Thank
Ralph.
you, Jeanette.
And
we
Thank
love
you.
you.
And thank you to the Dowsers community. You always treated us so wonderful. And I see Sandy here from where we met at the Reading Dowsers. Hi, Sandy.
Thank you. And we have hands up, 1+ node and 100. What's your name? Would you speak up, unmute yourself and speak? Yeah.
Yes, hi Marsha.
Hi Marsha, Mark Lemon and Jerry Whitehall in Colorado.
Oh my goodness, hi.
We haven't
Oh my
Hi,
goodness.
sweetheart. It's so great to see you. You look fantastic, and we can feel Ralph with us and around us and with everybody here. And he is just, we just enjoyed speaking with you so much. And so Mark and I wanted to be here and say hi and kind of make sure you knew we were thinking of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's wonderful that you're on, and thank you for coming. And thank you.
Thank
Well,
you
and
so
you-
much. Okay,
you
the
could have
last
turned it-
hand up is Akuda Melchizedek. I'm sorry, you wanted to say something before
Yeah.
Akuda comes
Yes,
in?
Ralph and Marsha had turned us on to part of Ralph's life of also, besides Otis Carr, is George Van Tassel in the Integratron,
Oh,
and that
yes.
whole community, and the designs of the OTC and the designs of the Integratron and George Van Tassel, and we've incorporated a lot of that information into some of our 0-point energy and healing equipment.
Oh, wonderful.
So we thank you. That gave us some added creativity and some information from the past masters. and we've gone on to help and heal a lot of people utilizing that thought process and technology that you'd help turn us on to.
Wow.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Stay in touch.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So Akuda is the last
you.
hand up. Do you want to say a few words, Akuda?
I do. I actually want to share a personal experience. Marsha, I have never met you in person before, you or Ralph. And many years ago, I had a tremendous experience happen with a group of beings that I talked about on the last call. So I'm not going to go into that. But, you know, as I came back, I needed to make sense of that. And when you're talking to yourself, you're talking to your soul and you're asking, show me how this even makes sense. One of the things that came into my field was a talk that Ralph Ring gave. And one of the things that he talks about is the natural anti-gravity device of the bee. And,
Yes.
and that it was like the answer to what I was experiencing with my heart and DNA, and that it was an anti-gravity device. And it touched me so deeply. And I actually got so many downloads from his talk, and that I actually heard Ralph say in his voice that the love of nature is everything. And if you follow it, it will give you the keys of the kingdom. And I just wanted to share that. And you have both touched so many lives on this planet. And
thank you.
And I really appreciate both of you to having the courage to talk and to be a forefront for people to witness that, and to lead us into understanding that we have abilities, gracious, God-given abilities, and that our consciousness is key. Our loving consciousness is key. And just so thank you so much. You have touched so many.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Akuda.
I know this is a tribute to Ralph, but I'm really feeling it. Thank you all. Thank you. I'm just very touched. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Marsha. Right, Sherry, are you ready to speak now, or you wanted to share some pictures? Last but not least, Sherry, we are letting you speak if you can. Sherry? Are you still here, Sherry? Sherry? Is Sherry still here?
Yeah, it shows she's
Yes,
still
she is.
here.
Yeah. Would you?
She's
unmute
still
yourself,
emotional,
Sherry?
she says.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She did give us a message that she just typed out, and I think I can read it for her.
Yes, please.
If I can find it. It's the time of the fire, and well, I'm having a problem with the Zoom getting it up here. At the time of the fire, my father had just got out of the hospital. He had a triple bypass. After going through the fire, my dad did not look good. I was afraid he might not make it, but because of you who helped them and showed them the love and sent your love, pulled my dad out of his broken heart and thrived and got past it. Thank you. That's from Sherry.
Ralph had a quadruple bypass on the 8th on his birthday, September 20th of 2018, and the fire was that's next month on November 8th. So yes, he was, but yeah, he did really well. You know, he was first healed with the stem cells. And like I said, he went and on a little trip over to Ecuador and didn't take his stem cells with him. So evidently he just had to go through that bypass, but he did that well too. And thank you, Cherie. Thank you.
Okay.
Marsha, I wanted to share about that knowledge of inverse gravity, of portaling through stargates. We know, including what you and Ralph have iterated, that is in our DNA. The instructions, the blueprints, the technology is coming through us. We are now the elders standing up right now. We are the ones that are honoring Ralph Ring, who is now our ancestor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Fernando.
Yes.
Yeah, Ralph was 87 when he passed, and I'm 83, and so we are the elders, and who knows what will bring tomorrow. But right now, I'm just grateful that I've had the life that I shared with Ralph, and I'm glad that I have the sharing with all of you that are speaking up for many. I know there's many people that had contacted me after Ralph has passed, and he was loved by so many, and I tried to text everybody or notify everybody, and finally I just gave up because there were so many, and I was hoping that the ones that were touched would know about it. And just a couple of days ago, one of our friends in England, and I thought he was going to be on today, but he called and he said he hadn't heard about Ralph's passing, and I knew I had texted him, but evidently he didn't get it. So, but anyway, there's people still that there's so many people, because we did so many conferences for a long time. We kind of went into retirement this last 3 years after we moved to Green Valley, and we did telephone conferences, but that's all. We just we did it, and I'm so glad, like Fernando and Cheryl Scott, all of you people, Crystal, all of the people that are going on and helping people to become who they really are. That's what we need to do. We just need to keep helping people realize the oneness and who we've been created to be. And Dan Fernando, thank you so much. And Ben Hallett, thank you for being here. Sandy, I see you and I love you. I love all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you.
Thank you. And we love you too. And it's been such an honor to have you and the whole family and everyone who's close to you and Rav, paying a tribute to Rav in this memorial service to Rav Ring, whom we love. I think that's it, right? Everyone, I would like to thank you for
We have
staying through.
Sandy. Sandy, you wanted to say something.
Sandy wants to say something. Go ahead.
Yes, am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to again thank Marsha so much. And I was familiar with Ralph's work from Terry's interview many, many years ago, and then I heard them speak at Jeanette California meeting, and I said, well, I'm right up the road from you, little 6 hours from Green Valley, because I live in northern Arizona. And I said, do you mind if I come by sometime, buy you a cup of coffee or something? And they said, your bed is waiting. Your bed is waiting for you. And I said, everybody, I think. And went down there and just connected with these people, and it was so great because it was a real familiar, I can't make my sing words here, real familiar connection. And we spent our time going back and forth across the border smuggling ivermectin in to give to our friends for the COVID virus. And
that's true.
They kept saying, don't you want to take the walker and say that you're handicapped so you don't have to wait in the immigration line as long? I said, no, I better not do that. Had them coming up here to the ranch in northern Arizona for a few days, and it was quite a drive, more than I think Ralph thought, and had about 20 friends, and we spent about 3 days just talking and sharing and listening to their stories and eating and talking and sharing and on and on and on.
It's beautiful.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you.
I would and see them. And so it was a a recent connection directly just in the last couple of years, even though I was somewhat familiar with his work. So anyway, it was so nice to connect up with you again in this lifetime. In fact, when after Ralph passed, Marsha sent me a text and said, Ralph is continuing on his journey. And she didn't sign it, Marsha. And I thought it was another client of mine in Houston named Ralph. And I was calling them to say, oh, I'm sorry about Ralph passing away. And he was the one that answered, thought it was the wrong Ralph.
Oh, thank you, Sandy. We have still our team members whom I will call upon, because it's not fair that they hadn't been given a chance to say a few words for Ralph. Thank you, Sandy. Yeah. Okay, so I would like to ask Scott if you have anything to say very quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
Quick, yeah.
I'm muted. Yeah. Yes. What a wonderful, amazing 2 meetings we just had. Boy, I'm so blessed to be in contact with such amazing people. There's a lot of similar circumstances going on with the radio station I've been listening to for 2-3 years. It's republicbroadcasting.org. It was created by John Statmiller. He passed away suddenly of AAA, some aneurysm thing. Ralph Winterworld, really one of a kind in law, just passed away alone in Alaska. Same thing, very similar to what you said, Marsha, about Ralph, only he was alone and he got, we've lost Rick Adams, Shirley O'Cordy. There are 34 amazing hosts on that show. Some are really high tech, like Spy Tom is taking over for the creator that passed. Please, some of you people, let's take this to the next level. Mike Emery, call in with Bubble Tech. Fernando Vosa, I'm going to share the video I said was your new video earlier. Nobody caught the joke, but you people have stuff that could be shared. Some of these shows are broadcast out. Some of it is talking about the news, but some of it is high level stuff you're doing. Let's take this to the next level. This is beyond words, what we're doing. It is not easy to be the light in this world of darkness. Let's do this together. Scott.
Take that's why we have our FESIG platform.
I'll hook you up there. There's so many things going on there. Some is high tech, some is health, Ingrid Castle. So I'll yield there, but I am so blessed. I'm just a schmuck from Long Island. I'm telling you, it is just a blessing to be part of this.
Thank you everybody. So much, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Graham,
thank you.
Graham, you want to say? Thank you. Graham, you want to say a few words, Graham? Graham Sandwich.
Hi there. I didn't know Ralph very much, so just listening to everybody sort of say their piece, it's been quite extremely moving, and it's been marvelous. So very nice. Well done. Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. Billy, this is the FESIG R&D team members. Billy, you want to say a few words?
Hi, Crystal. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, this is Bill. One of the good things during the pandemic, that's when I found out about Ralph through this group. And I watched every video of Ralph's that I could find on the internet and YouTube and his website. And I was so taken back by what he had to say and the technology. And also he said something in one of his last videos about when he was in the war, that he wouldn't shoot anybody, that he would just aim above them. And those kind of things just stick in your mind. What a wonderful person he was. And I wish I would have gotten a chance to work with him, but he's a mentor of mine, even though he passed to the next place. So that's what I have to say right now.
Oh, thank you, Billy. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
How about John? John Kane. Should have a few words for Ralph. These are free energy enthusiasts. They've been following Ralph. Yeah. Hi, John.
Yeah. I've been following, and big respects to Marsha and the work that Ralph's brought to the free energy. yeah, it's been brilliant. And yeah, wish you good future and the rest of us to bring this out and replicate what we can and go to source, go within. That's the way I work as well. Can totally relate with Ralph's mentality and consciousness, and yeah, his belief systems are second to none. So yeah, good luck to everyone, and much respect and appreciation.
Thank you, John. All right.
Thank you, John.
Axel, are you here? If not, Alex, if you're here from the team, R&D team, just unmute yourself and speak up because we're closing soon. What about you, Will? Will Dodd?
I can hardly read this.
Pontus, you want to say some last words before we close?
Thank you, everyone. And I think we close this memorial.
Yes, Pontus is the head of our R&D. Yeah, and Dr. Fresfrezel is our head teacher from the R&D team. Fres, you want to have any last words before we close?
No, I think the last message is, fellow light warriors and explorers, you've got your marching orders.
Yeah, right.
Thank you much.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Marsha and Ralph's family to be with us here today to honor him. And thank you, Ralph, for all that you have brought to us and left a legacy behind for others to continue through your work. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pontus, Fres, and everyone here, the team. And now there being no other business, this meeting is now adjourned to FESIG's 100th meeting. That is something to think about on the 4th of May. Yeah, if you could mark that down, pen that down in your diary, we will find very good speakers to improve our knowledge and bringing truth and everything that we need to know to get out of this mess here. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Recording.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marsha.
Love to you, Marsha.
Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
Love you, Marsha.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I love you guys all too. And I know Ralph is saying thank you too. I know he is.
Oh, we love you, Ralph, wherever you are.
I just have to remind you, this was his recent picture.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I love you. Thank
Made
you.
a commando light chip.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I love you. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, all of the FESIG team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this.